Hey everybody, this is Frances and welcome to Quilt Fiction's February 2024 Block of the Month demo. This month our block is the Rocky Road to Kansas, and let me show you first a finished block so you can see what that looks like. See if we can fit that in the screen. That is a block that I just finished this morning. It is, as most of my work, it's pretty imperfect, and I am a pretty imperfect quilter, and it's kind of almost crazy that I am doing a quilting video, a demonstration, because I have never taught anyone anything about quilting in my life. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, so be patient with me. I'm going to list in the show notes that will appear below this screen some really good paper piecing tutorials, very simple, basic, down to earth. If you've never done paper piecing, I would recommend going and checking out these videos. These people are really good teachers and fluid and fluent in the way they talk and in the way they actually, can you see my hands moving as I'm talking to you? The way that they talk about quilting and the way they demonstrate. And in this demonstration, I'm not going to show you myself quilting. I don't have a studio set up. I don't have a studio. I don't have a studio set up. That is true. I have a dining room table, which you are looking at, and I have a sewing machine, which is on the other side. Maybe once I get some practice doing this, I can actually work it out, figure it out, so you can actually watch me sew, which for some reason, I find watching other people sew so relaxing. I don't know if it's the hum of the machine or that thump, 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 the needle. I love watching other people sew, but if you do too, you're going to have to go elsewhere, at least for now. But the main reason I decided to do this demo is because if you're not a paper piecer, or if you're new to quilting, you can look at this block. And actually what we're seeing right now is the cover of Kansas Quilt and Quilters. And it has a great Rocky Road to Kansas quilt. And I don't know how this is, can you see? I don't know, y'all. If you really want to see it up close, email me. I'll send you a picture. It's a super cool quilt. And this was a very popular pattern about in the turn of the 20th century. So according to Barbara Brackman, who we go to for all things quilty, historical. That is really not a phrase. If you got a quilt history question, you go to Barbara Brackman and you search her website or her blog, which is called Material Something. I'll link to it somewhere. Anyway, just Google Barbara Brackman, and you can search her site, and that's what I did with the Rocky Road to Kansas block. And there it was, and the information was that the Ladies Art Company, that was a catalog, they did patterns and kits, and they published 2 similar patterns for the Rocky Road to Kansas block in the 1890s. And so it took off, and you can tell if you're looking at this, and let me see, yeah, this camera does a great job of focusing. This is very... Or does it? I think it does. Anyway, there's a lot in this quilt. You see a lot of crazy quilt techniques going on. Of course, that was the era of the crazy quilt. Crazy quilting, crazy quilts. I don't think it was crazy quilting. That's what I do. Crazy quilts were very much in vogue in starting in the 1880s, I think. And I interviewed some crazy quilt collectors for Quilt Folk for the Colorado issue. And Alan and Patty Brown, I think were their names, really lovely people, and I believe that's what they told me. That's when the women's magazine started doing patterns, doing crazy quilt patterns and features and what have you. So the Rocky Road to Kansas, for a lot of people, did use crazy quilts stylings, right? And so you see that in this picture, you see silks and velvets, you see the embroidery and what have you. And now my block is of a different nature, but not uncommon. You see blocks like this that are just string pieced blocks. And that's what these 4 points It's all string piecing. And in fact, let me show you. So the original, so what I did, and I love doing this, and this is one of the reasons, and I've got some more. I cut this one down. All right, when I made this block, I used pieces this big, and they're entirely too big, and I think they got in my way a little bit. So I'm going to try the one I show you. We're going to try slightly smaller fabric for the point of the star, for the star points. And what this block is 4 squares, 4 units, and they're very simple. That's the thing. I think it'd be possible to look at a quilt, like this, right? Back to our Kansas quilters. And by the way, why the Rocky Road to Kansas is because our book of the month is Sandra Dallas's Persian Pickle Club, the Persian Pickle Club. And if you haven't had a chance to listen to the interview I did with Sandra on the Quilt Fiction podcast, I hope you will. She is a delight. She's a wonderful, wonderful writer. Anyway, so obviously when you're reading a book, the Persian Pickle Club, that is set in Kansas, and the Rocky Road to Kansas is, oh, did you hear? It's like my iron just did that thing that irons do, where you're like, is it going to explode? It's not. We're all safe. Anyway, the Rocky Road to Kansas seemed like the perfect block, and it's a really simple block. Okay, what you're going to need to make your Rocky Road to Kansas block is, first of all, you're going to need a pattern, and you can go over to quiltfiction.com and get one. We are currently updating our website. It's possible by the time you watch this, it will be updated, and there's going to be a menu for patterns, or it may say free patterns. Either way, go there and you'll find it. Otherwise, if we haven't updated right now, the section that holds patterns, that has patterns and what have you, is called Fun Stuff. And it is fun stuff, but that's where you can find it. You can print this out, and if you just want to try your hand at a Rocky Road block and see what you think, just print out 4, or maybe just to be on the safe side, print out 6. Now this one, I don't know if I can bring, this is just printed out. It is homemade. Honey, everything about me is homemade. This is not a professional joint. This is just me making stuff. Anyway, it's a very simple to print it out on your printer. This is copier paper. I was thinking about this earlier. Didn't we at one time call this typing paper? Did we ever? I'm not sure now. I'm like, maybe we didn't, but we didn't always call it printer paper for sure. So anyway, but I also, you can, if you only have printer paper, that's fine. You can use regular old paper for your patterns. It works. It's kind of fun. The way the needle sounds as you're sewing, it's kind of cool. But you can also get this stuff, this transparent, blank quilt block foundation sheets to mark and sew. And you can print on these. And I have to tell you, my printer is no great shakes. And so I think if you've got a printer that's been made since 2010, I don't think you will have any problem printing these sheets. And if you don't have, they're fun. They feel. Oh, this is fun. You can see where I messed up and was, whiting out stuff. But it's a little bit like cloth, but not quite. It's like if cloth and paper, if muslin and paper got married, that's what this would feel like. So, and I have printed out a bunch of these. I hope to make a whole quilt eventually. I have lots of hopes. I have hopes and dreams. Anyway, so that's one thing that you need, is you need to print out, let's say, just for one block, you need to print out 4 copies of the pattern. And it's a very simple pattern. This really is a simple block to make, but that's not the good one. Anyway, we'll just put the block back. So you need that, but we're covering up something else that, if you have, is super cool. And this is a light board. And this is a Huon. I don't know if that's even how you say that. Light board. So that's fun. Woo! But what if you don't have one? There are a couple other things you can do. And one is, when it's time to be able to see through the pieces of this block, what you do is you can hold it up to a window. You can hold up the unit up to the window or up to a lamp. But I'm going to show you something else. Okay, so what we have here is a clear plastic box, and this one is about 12 inches long, 10 inches wide, and maybe 8 inches deep. Now my favorite one to use for a light box, and by the way, I've been calling what I have a light board, which it is, but I think the conventional term for what we're talking about is light box. I have a box that is probably 12 by 12 or 14 by 14, but only maybe 3 inches deep. And that is my preference for this, but my light box that meets those requirements, that fits those requirements, is in the attic. And you're welcome to go look for it, but I just don't have that kind of bandwidth right now. It's buried deep, girls, deep. In any event, this box will do. The only requirement really is that you have a clear plastic lid. Some of these clear boxes come with white lids. That will not work. You've got to have this. Now, if you want to go super homemade with this, you could use flashlights. And these are not the world's strongest flashlights, even though I just put new batteries, and I don't know if this is the best way to do it or this is the best way. I'm sure you are smarter than I am, and you can figure that out, and hopefully you have better flashlights. All right, but then if you put the lid on, you see that there's a source of light down there, and you can see if you put, you can see that. The question is, can you see through the pattern? And it's like, I think if you had better flashlights, you could. And I feel like at one time I did have better flashlights, and I could. I actually can. I'm not sure that the camera's going to show that, but I can see the lines there. But I'm just saying, if you want to make this out of something that you have in your house, you don't want to go buy anything new, that'll do. That'll do. But if you want to make a super duper light box at home, you can get, these push lights. All right, I got this. I ordered these off of Amazon. I actually use them. They're called Star Spangled. Light your life brilliantly anywhere. It's a 4-pack, dimmable. I use these. I have a dollhouse, so I use these to light my dollhouse. But if I didn't have a light box, I would also use them in here. And these create super, really strong light. Watch out. Shade, put on your sunglasses. Shade your eyes. Here comes the light. Here comes the sun, man. Here comes the sun. All right, here we go. Now that, my friends, is a light box. And put down some fabric. Put down the pattern. And I think you can see, I don't know if that's showing up on the camera. Yeah, you can, right? You can see orange, white, you can see it. This makes a great light box. Now, I should say, these lights, probably cost for the 4-pack, probably cost $12. I think you can get them for as little as $8. A box like this, I don't know anymore. It might cost $10, it might cost $15. If you've got your Joann's 40% off, I really could not tell you. What I'm trying to get at is my light box or my light board, I think it just costs $30. So if you had to get a new plastic box and buy these push lights, it probably is going to be $25. So, unless you have this stuff around the house, it's not going to save you a ton of money, but you also may be in that space where, like, I don't want to buy anything new. I don't need one more gadget, one more device, one more appliance. And and if that's where you are, well, do this. Isn't that cool? I did not make up this idea. I saw it somewhere, and I wish I could remember where I got the idea, because I would like to give that person credit, but it's been so long ago, I don't remember. But this is a really great light box, so another possibility for when you're paper piecing. All right, so what else do you need? That's kind of it. You need fabric. So we've got our pattern, and this is going to take 4 different pieces of fabric to make this unit. And so we've got, we've got this, all right, and this is going to be this long triangle. What kind of triangle is that? Is it an isosceles triangle? I don't know, because I got a D in geometry. Okay, so you need that. For this, I'm going to do lots of layers here. I'm going to turn off that light. All right, for the sides, you need 2 rectangles. I do know rectangles. I'm good with the rectangles. All right, you're going to need some rectangles. And these are 4 inches wide and 7.5 inches long, which is considerably larger than what you end up with here, right? This is a 6.5 inch square, right? But you always need more fabric to make the piece. You need big pieces, and especially when you're starting, because see, this is where I'm like, I can't explain why you need more fabric, but hopefully you will see. And finally, so you need 2 of these, and then finally this orange piece, and that is 3.5 by 5. So these are the 4 pieces. One of the things, so this, how do you get this? You know how you get this. Get out some scraps. This one, I'm going to measure this really quickly, is about 5 inches wide and 7 inches long. So 7 by 5. My guess is you could make it even narrower than this, but we're going to see how that works for us. So that's what you need. Right now, when you make the string piece element, you know, just get out the colors you love. This is one of these experiments too, where when I was making these pieces, I love doing this. I love using scraps, like I know a lot of us do. And I love, you know, it's like you put 2 pieces together and they're like, this doesn't really work. But you do that thing, and I can't remember who teaches this. I think it's either Bonnie Hunter or there's someone else who I really like a lot. It'll come to me later. Anyway, just if you have a piece, like you sew 2 pieces together and you're like, I don't know if that works, just make one of them really small. Anyway, so sew a bunch of strips together, get wonky with it. If you like wonky, get straight and narrow with it. If you like, and even, if that's what you like. I like wonky because I can't do math or really measure things. So that works for me. So these are the 4 pieces that we need. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're going to first situate our string piece, and we're going to get it with the pattern, right? And here's a lesson I learned. Now, first of all, I kind of am enjoying these stripes being straight. That seems to be the general gist of it in the block that I just made. But I want to show you a mistake I made with an earlier block. All right, so if you can see this, it's cute, right? But that last strip is a solid, and it's a fuchsia. It's really pretty, but then it's orange. And what happened when I put the 4 units together, it made this bottom part look like an arrow. It messed up the whole look. So assuming you're going to use a solid in the center for this block, right, that these bottom units are going to be solid, then don't make that last strip solid. You'll be sorry. Okay, and I want you to note I am putting essentially, I've got this unit, and I do call everything a unit. I hope that's like just not totally confusing. I've got that wrong side up, right? And then I've got the pattern right side up. I don't know that it actually matters. You tell me. What I know is I need to be able to see the lines, right? So anyway, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it because I pin everything. I see tutorials where people do not pin curves. They're like doing drunkard's paths and no pins, and it's just such daredevil work. I can barely handle it. But all right, so that was easy, right? If it were all this easy, we would be so happy. Now, I have prepared a drawing for you, and I hope this camera will focus on it. Maybe no light box for that. Yes. Okay, I'm actually going to do it like this. Pretend this is real. What we're going to have like this right? So we have our striped fabric, our string piece here. This piece, our next piece, it's going to lay under the string piece like this, okay? And I don't know, maybe this would be helpful to have. Nope, not at all helpful. You go on off, little buddy. All right, but that's how it's going to be, except, let's see if we can do it in real life. We've got our string piece. Now I will turn that on. That's kind of weird looking. Do y'all see? It's like undulating. It's like a disco in here. That's very cool. All right, now here's the thing I'm going to do, and try not to waste all of our time and take a million years. Okay. I can kind of see it, and I think I've got kind of right. Here's what, so you see the line. I'm going to turn this off again to help you see a little better. Maybe. I don't know. All right, but there's a line, right, that's on the pattern right here. You want your white piece, which you have, which is under here, right? That should be coming, and you can kind of see that should be a 1/4 inch out from that line. Now, that's one of the reasons that we make these units. Unit again. Why we cut our fabric bigger, right? Because there's flipping involved. There's all kinds of things involved that I could never explain to you in a million years. You're going to have to watch. But anyway, so I think that works. And that again is why. And I'm going to go ahead and pin. Hello, pins. Come on over. I'm a pinner, man. I live with the pins. I live and die by the pins. All right, so I'm going to do that. And maybe one more pin. One more. Right, like this, right? Okay, so now I have sewn this line. All right, let me see if I pull it up. Yeah, maybe you can see. And I've started there and went all the way down here. Right, so what do we do now? We do one of my favorite things that is also very scary to me, is we are going to fold back. Excuse me, I just clunked on my camera stand. We're going to do this. All right. So we've got that. And we also have a lovely, I'm very proud of that. Okay, I wish I would quit doing that. All right. Yes, it's a very professional show here. All right, now let me get this. Now what we're going to do is going to cut off that excess there. Boom, gone. I saved these pieces because someday I believe, because I love them. I love how they look. And someday I believe that I'm going to make a quilt simply out of these pieces. So, now, excellent. Now what do? I'll show you. All right, what we're doing now is we're going to iron this. We're going to press the seam, and I'm using this adorable Aliso. It's a mini iron. It's a travel iron. It's called the M2 Pro Mini Project Iron. And Aliso is our sponsor this month. And obviously, I have this iron, and it has a trivet, and so you can put it down. Now, I don't always do that, but you can if you need to put it down. Sometimes it's easier. You can put it down on the trivet. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fold that over, and we're going to take our adorable Aliso iron. I have their big iron too, the one that it's sort of like having a pet. You put it down. Oops, hold on. I've got pizza dough. We've got pizza dough going on. Okay, I'm back. I had to get my pizza dough out of the oven. Not out of the oven, out of the fridge. And now it's going to warm up and we're going to have pizza tonight. It's Saturday. I am making this on Saturday, February 3rd. February, just rushing by already. Anyway, so we're going to take our adorable. Did I do this already? I might have, but let's do it again because I really like to iron. Oh, I think I was saying that I have a big Aliso iron, which I love, and it's the one that if you set it down flat like this, it has a mechanism that goes, and it's like having, and actually the sound is much more pleasant than that, but it is kind of like having a pet. And yeah, so anyway, so now what we've got to do, all right, let me segue. All right, now what we have to do is put on our second wing. I really think of those as wings. And the trick is, and this is really important, you have to make sure, let me see, right, that you end up, that it's covering, that it crosses up there, right? And I have on more than one occasion been just done a bad job of it. And then so you get that, you get it. Anyway, I've made mistakes, and I don't want you to make my mistakes. So, and I did. Where's my my little drawing for you? Here we go. Aren't you lucky? Here we go. So, let's see. We've got our triangle, right? Our center unit. Now we've got the A2, over here we've got this wing. Now we need to do this wing, right? And you'll notice this is A1, A2, A3. I don't know why the A's. That's just how other people did it, so I copied them. And in fact, in my original template, I just have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I thought, well, but this is television. We better put the A's on there. I don't know why A. Maybe in more complicated patterns, then you also have B's and C's and D's. No idea. Not done that many complicated paper piecing patterns. But, all right, so this is A3. And this is going to be, so we're imagining that we are seeing through the layers and to that. And so this is where we have to come over to this line, right, and make sure that we've got that 1/4 inch seam. So here we go, back to our pattern, right, and we've got this, and we want to, one thing you want to make sure when you are going over to the other side is that this stays out. You could even pin it, right, because, but that's a heartbreak I've had, where somehow this has stayed over, so this is the bottom, and so I'm sewing over there, and then all I've got, like, it ends up just like that, all sewn together. You don't want to do that. All right, so we're not going to do that. So let's, first of all, I'm dropping things. So, and you know, and I am someone who I take extra precautions because I make a lot of mistakes, and I'm not showing off for anyone. Clearly not showing off. So here we go. We've got this. Now I'm looking at this, to be honest, and I could definitely trim that back. I'm not going to, but I could. And the one thing, and it is true, I think about doing, come on, light. My light does not seem very bright right now. Having this unit, it does make it a little harder to see, but all right, so I've got this, and you know, I've got this, and it is really actually helpful for me to remind myself. It's like, that's how it's going to be, right? And I may take a moment off screen because you don't want to see me. Maybe you do want to see me fumble with it. This may be the funniest thing you've seen in years. I'm not sure, but I'm going to break, and I'll be back with it done perfectly. All right, you guys, this is hilarious. I'm going to have to edit out a whole segment of this because I was like very confidently saying, well, here's what you do and here's what you don't do and blah, blah, blah. And then I did it wrong. And the proof, if you can see my little perforate, you probably can't. That's good. You don't need to see my mistakes. Oh, I know. You'll learn from your own mistakes. You don't need to learn from mine. But here we go. I'm looking at my drawing. Right, and so I see, yeah, that kind of does look similar. Right, I'm not feeling overly confident that I have the length. I want to make sure that I have plenty because we've got to get that up there. So there's got to be overlap. I think, okay, I think maybe I do. And I can see that I'm creating a overlap that's more than 1/4 inch, and that's okay. All right. By the way, I am left-handed. Although, like so many left-handers, quite ambidextrous, and actually I think some of it is because you have to be, all right? We live in a right-hander's world, but some of it is, I think, is actually legit ambidextrous, except when it comes to handwriting. It makes like my arm itch when I see people write with their right hand. Okay, let's see, does that feel? Yeah, that feels good to me. So I just heard my husband come in from the back. He's pruning the blueberry bushes. So I'm going to go sew. So that's how we're looking right there. Let's see what happens. I'll be back. My husband came in, Mr. Dow, not in this room, but into the kitchen because he's doing chores right now. Bless his heart. And yeah, he started dragging the trash out. I'm like, that sounds nice. But you see, okay. Okay, now I've got, can you see, like, entropy has set into my set. Lori Holt would do better. Do you notice also this little trivet? I wouldn't have known to call it a trivet, but they call it a trivet. It kind of looks like a turtle. I think it's adorable. Okay, so here we are. So this is working out. It's working out beautifully. So we're going to take our adorable little Oliso iron. Thank you, Oliso, for sponsoring us. I really do love Oliso. I love my irons, but I also love Michelle Muska, who is one of their people, who is just so good to the quilting and sewing community. And yeah, so it makes you really happy that the irons are great because the people are great. It would be kind of rough if people were great, but like, yeah, I don't love the irons, but I do love the irons. Anyway, okay, so we've got one more piece. Let me change my set and get back to the fun and weird light board. Okay, we've got one more part to this. And you know, at some point, I see a little string hanging out, which doesn't really matter because I'm going to be cutting that off. It also doesn't matter because you probably can't see it. And even if you could see it, you would forgive me for it. I will get better at this, and then you'll miss these early days of me attempting to be on the TV. All right, quilting on the TV, baby. Got one more piece, our orange block. And yeah, so this is going to help form, of course, the center element. Let me show you. This is what we're after in the long run. So that's all these come together and form a square. Ooh, see, it's haunted. You know what? I'm going to show you something that I do. I may have shown you this before. So this is the front of the block, but the back of the pattern. So I'm doing this because that gives me basic rough idea. Then I go here, right? I'm like, yeah, I want to go over, and I know that, so I think that, yeah, this is cut, this orange unit is cut 3 by 5, which is plenty big. It gives you a little, a fair amount of room to mess up, which is good. Okay, but I'm seeing that I got it. Okay, so yeah, pens. I don't need an assistant because that would make me flustered more than I am. My pens are right here. I just feel like Lori Holt, her pens would be right there. They would be because she's really good at what she does. And that's why she's Lori Holt, and that is why I am Frances Dow. Yeah. Okay, so I got it pinned. I'm going to go sew. I'm sorry that you don't get to join me later. Another time, honey. We'll sew together, and I'll be back, and we'll see. We are about to be done with this unit. Okay, here we are. I'm back, and strings are everywhere. If you could only see my sweater, then you'd really know. And here's the reveal. Yes. And of course with this, it's like I kind of lied because the one thing you do want, when I was saying, I wasn't lying. I was just wrong. It wasn't on purpose. But you do want to make sure that this unit is placed centrally, right? So you've got about 1/4 inch on either side here. That will play a role in that final block when you put everything together. But let's do that fun thing we do. And we're going to move our board, the ghost board. Right, move stuff out. Again, I think it's hilarious. Just again, entropy setting in already. I don't have a lot to cut away here. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do that. Whoops, and now we got to do another set change. You know what? Would you be cool if I just ironed offset? Would that be all right? Because that's going to be a lot faster. I'll be right back. Okay, so can you see this? This is a template, right? From that kind of plastic that you buy at the store, which may be called template plastic. I have zero idea. So but what I did was I traced my pattern onto this. So it's a thin piece of plastic. I don't know how much this stuff costs because I have like bits and pieces all over my house from various projects over the years. Yeah, I'm like, oh, what do we got here? A little paper. All right, so this will make what we're after is a 6.5 inch square. And this, in fact, is a 6.5 inch square. And I did this, right, just because, and this, not everyone needs to do this. And in fact, if you have a 6.5 inch square ruler, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I can just use that. But I really felt like it was nervous making. And you can see this is that my triangle It's not perfectly drawn, but I do know this is a 6.5-inch square. It's not quite the template. I mean, you can use it. You can definitely use it to cut, but I'm going to overlay my ruler. But this just allows me, right, to see. I just feel more confident, right, that I'm going to. I don't know if you know. I'm like, yes, that's what I need to do, right? Yeah, again, some of you are, I hope, are at least entertained. You're like, what? Why is she trying to teach us anything? I don't know. Anyway, but I do find this super, super helpful. I just keep it centered on my triangle right there. I'm going here, following that line. I'm looking over here. It's like, yeah, that's all working out. I'm going to go here. I just slipped as I cut. So if I were someone who actually was invested in perfection, I might be upset with myself, but I'm not. We'll work that out later. Okay, here we go. Gonna do this. Am I even on camera? I've slipped over to the side, being left-handed. All right, I'm sorry if all of that was off camera. If it is, I'll do it again. All right, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go over here. And I'm going to say, going to be a little, because, you know, obviously it's going to slip. My ruler is on plastic. So I'm going to go, boom. And thinking maybe I need a new blade. Except I just put a new blade in. How could I need a new blade already? Man, it's like computer ink cartridges. Like you get a new one. And it's like after you print two things, it's like printer is low on ink. And I'm like, how could that be? You know, at this point, because I just have one side left, I think I'm going to do this. This, and go here. And I have a lovely Omnigrid 6.5 by 12.5 ruler that I have not been able to find since Thanksgiving. So this is my dining room table. The only time I use it for dining is Thanksgiving and Christmas. That ruler, so that's going to get me here. It's a little easier to use rulers. I really should invest. So here we go, and there we go. And I'm going to bring, I won't put the light on, but it's not, well, yes I will, as it turns out. It's sensitive, all right? And there you go. I don't know, man. I think it'd be better if I do this. You can see it on there. There we go. And all you got to do is make 3 more, and you get your Rocky Road to Kansas block. Let's see if we can get that under the camera. All right, we're learning as we go. And I could probably learn how to lift up the camera, but I'm scared to. And where's my recorder? I hope I'm recording. I am recording, and you probably heard me move my recorder. Editing. It all come out in the edits. Anyway, this is the Rocky Road to Kansas. I hope, if nothing else, I've entertained you, but also have shown you that any idiot can make one, because I just did. But yeah, why should I shouldn't move that, even though I'm like, well, it's not. I'm sitting here staring at it, seeing the imperfections. I am an imperfectionist, and I'll make this work. I'll even it up. It'll all be beautiful. I hope you give this a try. It is a fun block. It is a super cute block. Again, you can make it modern. You can make it traditional, anywhere in between. You can have a lot of fun with it. I want to remind you, if you are listening to this in the month of 2024, in the month of February 2024, we have a giveaway. Going to give away some Oliso irons, the big one that's like having a pet that goes, and it doesn't do that. It doesn't. It makes a nice, satisfying sound as it raises up on its haunches, right? But it's great because then you can put it down, right? And then it goes up a little bit so it doesn't burn your iron cover, right? And ironing board cover, right? So that I love that. We're giving one away. And we're giving that little cute, super cute travel iron away as well. And another giveaway we're doing is the Sandra Dallas, a copy of Sandra Dallas's The Persian Pickle Club. So it's such a fun read. And she's a really, really good writer. She's a pleasure to read. So I'm excited to give that away to a lucky winner. One person will win the irons, one person will win the book, and everybody will be happy, I hope. Anyway, so go and enter the giveaway. If you are watching this later on in the year or in the decade, I don't know. Hopefully we'll be doing some other giveaway. So go over to quiltfiction.com. As I may have mentioned, I'm not sure because I did about 5 minutes of this video at the beginning without the recorder on. So that's when I might have been talking about the fact we are updating the website, making it easier to use, easier to navigate, and you can. That's where you're going to go to get your template. I think I must have talked about it. That's where you can download a PDF of the pattern, and but also you can explore. We've got lots of great free quilt fiction on there. Quilt fiction is a whole world. It's all created by me, almost all, but it's lots of stories, lots of audio to listen to while you're quilting or walking or just hanging out around the house. And there's also we have also a member-supported podcast and community, the Story Guild community. So you can check that out too. That's all over at quiltfiction.com. Again, give this a try. Thank you for bearing with me. I will get better at this, but I'll never be that great at it. So don't get your hopes up or anything. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I am Frances Dow. Come visit me at quiltfiction.com and also francesdow.com. And thanks so much. And we'll be back next month with some other demo. You can see how I've improved at being a quilter on the TV. All right, y'all. Take care.